Today I'm joined by Carly, a full-time van lifer who travels the open road with her dog, embracing freedom and simplicity. Carly is a life redesign coach who helps others navigate major life transitions and creates lives that feel truly aligned. So thank you so much for joining me today. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
And how are you today?
Yeah, not too bad. Not bad. It's starting to get a bit darker, isn't it? Well, you're in Spain, so maybe not for you, but in the UK here it is.
No, it's definitely getting like that here as well. And we've had about a week's worth of rain, so it's just been a bit miserable to be honest. But yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to winter, like getting the fires going and putting on like the snuggly clothes and my fluffy socks. I've pulled them out of the drawers, so
Yeah.
winter does have its pros.
This time last year, I was on my way to Spain in the van. So
Oh,
I,
really?
I went down to, I ended up, I took about 2 months to go down there and I ended up in the
Wow.
Almeria region,
Oh,
which in
amazing.
December was lovely.
Yeah. Yeah, because it can be a mixed bag, like we when we were living on the mountain house, like there was one, it was in February, and we had like a mad snowstorm, like it was like 6 feet of snow. And then other Februaries, it's just been absolutely glorious. Like you're out there pretty much like bikini weather. So like winter in Spain can always be a little bit varied. So it's nice you
Yeah.
had good weather.
Yes. Yeah,
So
it was lovely.
So let's just dive in because I would love to know, like, what made you choose this, full-time van life? What was that kind of transition for you?
Um, was it gradual or was it sudden? It was kind of somewhere in the middle. It was a series of life events that happened for me that ended up with me living in a van. And I don't think that was really the intention from the outset. It kind of just happened. Um, because I owned my own house and I worked in corporate, so I had a good, well-paid job.
Hmm.
Didn't love it. But I guess I was one of these people that had fallen into the trap of society. Success meant how much money you earned
Hmm.
or how big your house was. And then I went through a few things. So I lost my mum pretty suddenly, and then 18 months later, I lost my partner.
Oh,
He
wow.
passed away, and after he passed away, I was on bereavement leave for quite a long period of time and just thought, I can't go back. I can't go back to this. And that was the first decision. I can't go back to the corporate world, or I can't go back. I worked in finance. I was self-employed by the time I left, so I guess it was not quite corporate, but same sort of thing. And I went. So that was the decision. And from that, I thought, well, I've got a mortgage. I had finance, a car on finance, and
Hmm.
credit cards, and all sorts of things. I thought if I take away my income source, I'm going to have to do something about all of that. So I thought, right, well, I'll sell the house. I'll sell the house, and then figure everything else out after that. Um, as soon as the house sold, I was looking at ideas, off-grid ideas, static, buying a bit of land, having a static
Hmm.
caravan, something like that. And I think I saw this very van on Facebook Marketplace. And it all just slotted into place. I was like,
Hmm.
oh, I really like that one. It's got everything that I want and it's within my budget. So we went up north. It was about a 5 hour journey up to the north of England to go and view it. And I bought it there and then.
Wow.
And but even then, I didn't plan on doing full-time van life. I just
Uh-huh.
thought this is an immediate somewhere for me to live, and I'm going to go to Europe for a couple of
Yeah.
months.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I'm still in it. I'm still here.
Wow. So you didn't choose van life chose you essentially.
Well put. Yes, that's
Wow.
exactly true. That's exactly right. Yeah.
So I'm really sorry to hear about your mum and your partner. That's just absolutely awful. And that's obviously spurred you to kind of live this life that you're living now. And so when you moved into the van and you went to kind of explore Europe, was that just to try and like find yourself again, to heal, like just to,
Yeah.
what was kind of like the thought process through going to Europe?
Yeah, I think it was uh, healing is kind of a staged process
Yeah, of
anyway. So I
course.
didn't think that it was that. I just had the opportunity. I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
bought the van. I'd left my career, so I had nothing but a blank canvas in front of me, and I
Yeah,
thought, what do I want to do right now,
yeah.
right this very minute? And because I had the dog. I mean, I would have loved to have gone to America, but
Hmm.
because I had the dog, I had to think,
Yeah.
where I could take her easily. So Europe, it was, well, it was Spain actually, because it was this time last year, and I was thinking, where can I drive to that's still warm?
Uh-huh.
I think that's been my life since then, that nothing's been planned. It's
Yeah.
always just been, what do I want to do in the immediate future? So, and that's
Wow.
lovely. That's a really nice way of
Yeah.
life.
How nice. And is that what's kind of made you stay in this like van life then, is because you just love this freedom that it brings for you?
Yeah, pretty much, pretty much. And I'm really comfortable in the van. And
Yes.
we were talking briefly just before, and I mentioned that I've been looking at boats potentially
Yeah.
to upgrade
Yeah.
from a van to a boat because that will enable me more space. But even that, I'm not in a hurry to do
Uh-huh.
because the van. It has everything that I need, especially over winter. It's lovely and
Yeah.
cozy and warm, and it's well insulated, so I'm comfortable. I'm not in a hurry
Yeah.
to kind of plan, really.
And if you bought the boat, would you also keep the van and do like a bit of both, or would it just be a transition to just, full-time boat life?
I like to think I'd keep the van.
Yeah.
I've got family that live in Sweden, so it would be really nice to still have the van to be able to do a road trip over there. Um, every now and again. And just it's nice to have the option. It
Yeah.
does give you location wise all of the freedom. And
Yeah.
I don't want to say goodbye to van life completely because I've fallen in love with it too much.
Oh, that's amazing. And what like amazing places have you seen like when you've been traveling around like Spain? Did you go further from Spain as well, like down to Portugal or
No, I ran out of time
yeah.
because I'd promised my family I'd be back for Christmas.
Uh-huh.
So it got to that, and that was a hard decision because I loved it so much. I was
Yeah.
really tempted to stay and carry on because I met people on the road that carried on and were going around Portugal, and that looked
Right.
amazing. But no, I didn't, unfortunately. But no, Spain, one of my favorite places that I saw, and I think it was probably the most beautiful place I saw as well, was in Spain, and it was not I can't remember exactly where it was, but it was the northern Almeria region.
Uh-huh.
So just
Okay.
before I'd driven into Almeria, and it was a park up down a road that I really didn't think I was going to get down with my big van. It was scraping all the low-hanging branches. But as I got to this park up, the view was incredible. And
Wow.
it almost looked, when the sun was setting, it looked like something from another planet. It
Wow.
was absolutely stunning, and it was warm,
Hmm.
and there was no one about. It was very, very remote. And yeah, I think that that comes to mind when I think about the best place I've seen. It's hard to verbalize just how you feel when you're standing on the side of a mountain looking at the most beautiful
Hmm.
thing you've ever seen in terms of
Wow.
scenery.
Yeah.
So, but
I,
yeah,
I bet it's one of those moments where it's like, this is why I'm doing this life. Like this is it.
yes, it really
Wow.
was. Because I never would have seen that otherwise.
Of course, yeah. And it's funny, isn't it? Because I bet like you've kind of not even intentionally like come upon spots where you've just parked up and it's just like the most beautiful setting I mean, I really like romanticize van life. Like me and my family really want to go and do it. Like in a couple of years' time, we just want to go traveling and to see the world and almost like world schooled our children, just go on
Yeah.
the road and just experience cultures and languages and I think like I don't really have a destinations in mind. It's almost like just go with the flow, and I'm sure like we'll just end up at the most incredible spots.
Yeah, that is the best way with van life because if you're somebody that has to have a rigid plan,
Yeah,
it's probably van life would probably stress you out
yeah,
because plans can change at an instant. And if you're somebody that
hmm
goes with the flow and maybe doesn't even decide where they're going to park up until the very day, then you're not going to get stressed by changing
yeah,
plans that if you can't get to a destination or I there's so many different variables with van life. So if
yeah,
you are an easy go with the flow type person, you'd probably fit into it really, really well. But for
yeah.
people that need to have a 2 week itinerary, maybe not so much. That might
Uh-huh.
stress them a bit.
Yeah, I totally understand that. And how do you like feel like being like a solo van lifer, like traveling the road on your own? Does that ever feel a little bit like vulnerable, or do you ever get worried like when you're on your own?
There are moments. Um, Yeah, I think I had one moment in Spain where there was it was a little bit scary that I was being watched by this crazy person. And that was a little bit scary. And I think that kind of put it into my head then how vulnerable I was. Up until that
Mhm.
point, I don't really think it had bothered me that much.
Yeah,
But since then, I've kind of replayed it through so I've got escape plans in mind
yeah,
in every remote destination. I'm thinking, right, how's my exit route? I can get through to the driving seat very, very easily, so I don't have to get out of the vehicle to get
yeah,
into the
yeah.
cab, which some of them you do. So I don't have to go outside to and once it's all locked up, it feels pretty safe and secure. So, and of course, I've got a chihuahua. Not that she would be much good, but
I guess she barks like an alerts you if
yeah,
there's, someone approaching the van or yeah, not that
yeah,
she's scary looking, but at least just that having that little alert, almost like a mini alarm.
yes, yeah, true. But no, I think it's like anything else. If you get in your head about it, you can almost create your own fear, even when it's not necessary.
Of
I
course.
have found that if there's any other people around, I feel so safe because, especially the van life community, they will
Hmm.
look after you.
Yeah,
It's only really when you're on your own in a really remote location that I might be thinking there's nobody else around and, anybody could come up. But otherwise, I would say, yeah, it feels okay doing it on your own. I would like to do it with somebody in the future, that's for
hmm
sure, because sometimes when you're sitting there enjoying a fantastic sunset on your own, the dog doesn't have the same sort of appreciation for these things as a fellow person would that you could share it
yeah,
with.
yeah,
Um, it's great for confidence building, for getting to know who you are, and for pushing yourself outside your comfort zone.
yeah,
But yeah, there are moments when you think, oh, I would love to share this with someone.
yeah, I understand that. I understand that. So if you could just kind of explain, because I know like my audience, we love to know all about like the off-grid, aspects. So what makes your van off-grid? Like how do you get your electricity? How do you do your water? Like that whole setup, if you could just kind of explain a
Yeah,
little bit about that.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I've got solar panels for power. Um, I've got two, and I think they're 100 watt each. I can't
Hmm.
remember because it was a while ago that I put them on there. But in the summer, I don't. It's fine. That's
Yeah.
more than enough to keep. I don't run out of power at all. In the winter in the UK, I do. I have to be plugged into mains.
Hmm.
It's not enough. But I think that mo might be more to do with my batteries. I've got lead
Yeah.
acid batteries, not lithium. So
Yeah.
it would be great if I could upgrade those and I potentially get more off-grid power before I need to plug into the mains in the winter.
Yeah.
Um, what else? Water wise, well, funnily enough, I recently did a test on my water tank to try and find out how big it was.
Uh-huh.
Because when I bought this van, I was told it's 100 litres.
Yeah.
And but I doubted it. So I timed filling it up and I did all the mathematics and it works out that it's only about 60 litres. So
Okay.
I was quite surprised it was as low as 60 litres, but that will last me 4 to 5 days
Yeah.
off grid if I have a very, very quick shower every day.
Yeah. Oh, that's good though.
It is, isn't it? I was
Yeah. Yeah.
impressed for 60, 100 litre. So if I upgrade the water tank, which
Hmm.
I potentially might, then I can have a longer shower or be off grid for
Yeah.
longer.
Yeah. 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 And with drinking water, like, can you drink the water or do you have like a filter as well?
I've got a filter. So
Yeah.
I purchased a gravity uh, what do you call it? A gravity fed. It kind of drips through the filter. So you
Yes.
pour it
Yeah.
in the top, drips through, and then you've got completely filtered water. And it's quite a chunky thing that I've got. I'm kind of looking at it over here now. I the van's not too much of a mess, so I'll show you. Um,
Is it the Berkey?
that's it.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like an urn.
Is it the Berkey water filter?
It's not. It's
Oh,
the
okay.
Newton one. So
Yeah.
it's the same thing. It's just a different make.
And I think you said in the Liberation video that it also filters out fluoride and everything as well. That's
Yes,
really
yeah, it
good.
does. Yeah, so you can put pretty much any water in there and it makes it
Amazing.
so that you can drink it.
Yeah.
So
And do you have like a compost toilet?
I do, yes, and it is the one of the best changes I made in this van, putting
Oh,
a
really?
composting toilet in. Yes, it had a chemical toilet when I bought it,
Right.
and it is it it's the emptying of it that's such a problem.
Yeah.
They're even though the process of emptying it is well, there's no nice way of doing it, is there? But they just nasty. I
Yeah.
was trying to like think of some pros about the chemical toilet, but honestly, no, I can't
No.
think of any. They're just nasty. Even the chemicals, and if you're conscious about the footprint
Hmm.
that you leave behind as well, using the chemicals, and they've got, yeah, you can only empty them at certain points as well because of that.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
which is mostly campsites, which then of course ties you into campsites,
Yeah.
so you can't go off grid as often or for as long. The composting toilet, mine is a bit of a DIY one, um,
Love
but
that.
it works well because it was a built-in Thetford's chemical toilet, so we kind of
Uh-huh.
cut everything out and
Yeah.
replaced it with a kind of a plastic bin, and then a water container, basically with a tube that runs into the top of it
Oh, cool.
from the toilet bowl,
Yeah.
which of course is the separator, the toilet bowl. Um, it's a lot easier. The liquids I empty daily, but there's no chemicals. It's only liquids. So
Yeah.
I'm parked up where I am here at the moment. There's some woods, so I empty it in the woods daily.
Uh-huh. Nice.
And then the solids can go in the bin.
Yeah.
And I've got a ventilation system. We put a fan in the side of the van with a 12-volt computer fan on it
Oh,
to act
okay.
as an extractor.
Yeah.
So that, to be fair, that can probably go sort of 2, 3 weeks before I need to empty that. So
Wow, that's amazing. That's really impressive. And
yeah,
how do you stay warm then in the winter?
I've got a diesel heater,
Yeah.
and it's I've just replaced it, and I think I need to replace it again.
Oh no.
So I had a Webasto diesel heater in there, which also heated the hot water, and that was brilliant. I had that in all throughout last winter.
Mm-hmm.
And it was fantastic. I left it on 24/7 on low,
Nice.
and it was toasty, and oh, it was just brilliant. Unfortunately, that went wrong just because it had some leaks, and there was problems with it. So I had to replace it, and I replaced it with a cheaper version. Basically, I've got a
Mm-hmm.
Chinese diesel heater, and the hot water system is a cheaper version as well. And it's just it's not as good.
Yeah.
It's either on or it's off, and you can't have it on low. You can only have it on high. And so you're either super hot or freezing cold. There's no in between. So as it's now getting a bit colder, I'm going to put another system in, spend the
Yeah.
money that I should have spent in the first place,
Yeah.
and put a go with probably a Truma combi, which again will do the hot water and the heating. Um, yeah, so there's a tip for anybody looking, don't skimp on the heating because I did and I regretted it.
Yeah, you have to end up paying twice. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So
But
I
there we
think
go. You live
it's
and
one of
learn.
those things. We used to do like we've been living off grid and everything. It's always like we'd go for the cheaper options, and actually it's like, oh no, like we should have just gone for the better version in the first place. I totally get that. But do you feel
Yeah,
like that could be kind of something that maybe people don't factor in with van life is like these unforeseen costs, maybe? Because I guess people think, oh, the overheads are really low, your outgoings are low, which is probably true. Like, you're not paying rent or tax, house tax and stuff. But I guess there's a lot of unforeseen costs that you have to kind of account for, don't you? Like, you're gonna have to upgrade your batteries maybe soon, the
yeah,
heater. And I guess because it's
yeah,
a van as well, it's like the mechanical, issues that you have to kind of account as well.
yeah. And I had to have quite a lot of welding done this year on it as
Mm.
well because it's 54 plate, so over 20 years old this van is now. So
Yeah,
it was starting to get quite a lot of rust on the underside on the sills. So
right.
I had to have welding done along each side, which wasn't cheap. But now that's
Mm.
been done, hopefully that will last quite a while now without
Yeah,
having a problem with rust. But yes, you're right. You do need to. It's like with anything. If you own a house, you need to make sure that you've got an emergency fund in case the boiler packs up, or in
of
case you
course.
have a leak
Yeah,
and need a plumber or something, or an electrician. So it if you compare it to having a house, it's cheaper because there's technically there's more to go wrong with a house, and
yeah,
obviously tradespeople are more expensive. um,
yeah,
but it is the same. It is the same.
yeah,
You need to have an emergency. Well, yeah, I guess it is an emergency fund, isn't it? Because if your heating goes wrong, that's an emergency in January. So
of course. Yeah. And what would
yeah,
you say like your kind of running costs are, if you don't mind me asking, like month to month, what would you say your
yeah.
the costs are to run the van?
My gas is £30 for a new gas bottle, 7.5 kilograms, and that lasts me 3 months.
Wow.
Almost to the day, because I've every time I do, I look back as to when I went and last
Oh,
got
really?
replaced with gas. Almost 3 months to the day that lasts me, and that's yeah, 31 pounds, something like that, to replace
Wow.
that. And that's the same all throughout the year because it's only the hob and the grill that uses the gas.
Right.
The what else? The electricity. I'm plugged into the electric. I'm staying at my dad's at the moment,
Hmm.
so I'm plugged into. So he's paying for my electric. It's
Nice.
it's free.
Woohoo.
Because at the moment, obviously, the solar's not doing that much. It's really
Yeah.
dull and dreary here at the moment. But um, it's hard to put a figure on electric. If you've got a really, really good setup, solar setup and batteries, there's no reason why you could not live off grid entirely and
Hmm.
just use the power of rarely seen sun at this time of year, but with enough solar panel, I know I've seen other van lifers that have enough panels to still manage to get through the with
Yeah,
even with a little bit of sunlight. So, um, water again, I fill up at my dad's, so that's free
yeah,
too. Um, Diesel, I need to keep the diesel tank topped up because that's what the heater runs off of.
yeah.
But I've filled the diesel tank up once. I don't know how expensive it is, but it's not a lot. It's
Yeah.
not a lot.
Wow.
I think I've filled that tank up once in the last like this year, but again, it's hard
Wow.
to because it's been the summer, obviously. I haven't had the heater
Hmm.
on all the time, so that's why it's really hard to tell you how much that costs.
Yeah.
It hardly uses any though.
Uh-huh. Wow, that's amazing. And I guess petrol, like that just depends on how, how far you want to travel that day or
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. At the moment, I'm not going anywhere, so it's not costing me anything. Um, I went to Sweden in June, July, and I filled up twice there and twice back. So what about 300, roughly £300 to £400 in
Yeah.
fuel for a European trip. And yeah, that's quite a way, Sweden. So
Yeah, that's still really good. Yeah. And how do you feel that like this impacts your life in a positive way just by having these like, little outgoings? Like how does that free you up to, I don't know, to do invest in yourself or to go on holidays or I don't know, like how does that impact you by having these little outgoings?
well, that's the best bit. I think that's why van life is so appealing
Yeah.
because you don't have hefty outgoings
Hmm.
at all. I spend very, very little. And so you don't need to earn as much, which of course, when it's quite a contrast from my life when I lived in a house because
Yeah.
I lived the lifestyle.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had debts for, well, finance, if you want to call it that, but basically debts,
Yeah.
um, and a mortgage and bills. And so then I had to earn, I can't remember how much it was now, but I had to earn like £2,000 a month just to pay for that. And that was before
Wow.
I had any spending money.
Yeah.
So it was fine while I was earning it, but of course I wasn't happy and I
Hmm.
didn't want to do that anymore. So if you don't want to do if I didn't want to do what it took to earn the amount of money, then I had to get rid of the outgoings.
Yeah.
And in van life you do. It's I believe I don't think I'll be proved wrong, but I believe van life is the cheapest way to live.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even more so than boat life, because of course you've got mooring fees. I think van life you can do it is the cheapest way there's to
No,
live.
I think it'd be very hard to prove you wrong there. Yeah, I
Mm.
can't see how it could be any cheaper anywhere to live any other lifestyle, to be honest.
Maybe living with your parents and they're paying for everything, but
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to avoid. I just, even though I am parked up at my dad's, this is mine, and
Of
it's my own
course,
little
yeah.
personal studio flat,
Yeah,
really,
yeah. And you
and
can
it's
move that
completely
anywhere as well. You can go and live
exactly.
anywhere, which is incredible. Like you could go and in Spain or Sweden or London or, wherever you want to go. And I love that. It's like, boy, it is a home on wheels, isn't it? I think
Yeah.
it just seems so freeing. Like I just think it's amazing.
Yeah, yeah, and you don't have to pay for hotels and you've got your own
Yeah,
bed. You can go
yeah,
and visit people in different parts of the country and you've got your own bed that you
yeah.
can sleep in.
There's nothing better than your own bed.
Exactly.
Love that. And then, so how do you, because you are a life redesign coach, which is incredible because I do life coaching as well. And is that how you sustain this lifestyle then? And is it all online, your coaching?
Yes, it's a relatively new program that I've launched. So I have been doing coaching now for coming up to a year,
Hmm.
but it's been just one-on-one. like what's the word I'm looking for? Just one-on-one, one-off sort of
Yeah,
calls with
yeah,
people that I've been doing that have found me through YouTube.
yeah.
But then I put together, I partnered up with somebody who was an expert in like YouTube strategy marketing, and
Yeah.
together we created a program that used everything that I'd learned from working with people,
Hmm.
and put it into an accelerator program. So rather than just doing one-off calls with people,
Yeah.
I've got a 3 month program that's very
Wow.
hands-on from my point of view. So it's made me a lot busier than I thought it was going to. But
Uh-huh.
that's a good thing because I love doing it.
Oh,
So
amazing.
it's not work when it energizes you rather than drains you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it really does energize me. I can't tell you how happy it makes me when I'm working. I mean, you must get this when you're working with people and you just see the almost the realizations in them
Hmm.
and as to what they can do and what they're capable of. And
Yeah.
when you give them permission to think these opportunities up that perhaps they never thought available to them. Um, yeah, it's great. So, and the reason why I've put that into a 90-day accelerator is to give more accountability, more support,
Hmm.
and to build a community.
Wow.
So just to, because sometimes I found with clients, they were coming off the call fantastic and motivated to change and to do this and that, but it wasn't quite enough. They were
Yes.
going back to
Yeah.
their everyday life and they were hearing people tell them, oh, that's risky, you really want to live in a van, do you really want to go
Yeah.
traveling,
Yeah.
is that sensible, should you be doing the sensible thing instead?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's such a shame that people project such limiting um
Hmm. Fears,
beliefs
really, isn't
on
it?
people.
Yeah.
Mm.
Their own fears.
Yeah, yeah. So hopefully by having it over a 3 month period, that's enough to really work properly with someone and give them the support to make the changes necessary towards what they want out of life.
That sounds incredible. So is it a group coaching program or is it like one-to-one coaching but with the community aspect as well?
Yeah, so it's both. It's
Nice.
we do at the start of the program, we create a freedom blueprint. So we
Yeah.
outline what freedom looks like, what to the individual, what their goals are, what's
Yeah.
holding them back, the usual. And
Yeah.
we then will have weekly one-on-one sessions for the entire period.
Yeah.
I will also do a weekly group session with everybody in the accelerator at that time.
Yeah.
Also, there's a community where everybody in the accelerator contributes weekly to either one weekly win or one weekly challenge,
Yeah.
or just so that we've got support. And even if you go to work and you had a negative response from somebody
Hmm.
about something that you want to do or that you want to leave that job or whatever, you put it in the community so that you're not going through that
On
and
your
you're
own.
not
Yeah.
allowing that to embed into you and
Yes. You're like
keep you
releasing
stuck.
it and yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. I also do well, it's all a bit of a mix mash. So definitely one-on-one weekly, one group weekly, but I also throw in the odd masterclass if there's one specific topic that we're looking on, and I'd rather do that in a group setting. And I've got some other coaches that sometimes come in on a specific subject, like an intuition coach or a career
Uh-huh.
coach or something, that will hopefully come in and do a masterclass for them as well on a group setting.
Wow, it sounds amazing. I absolutely love what you're creating. And what got you into coaching? Is it just by living your own freedom lifestyle and living this lifestyle that people are approaching you and saying like, "Can you help me do the same?"
Yeah, I think it was a mixture of things rather than just one thing individually, because I've always loved the concept of life coaching, just
Hmm.
having a coach that can help you with life.
Yeah.
But that's very broad. And I
Yeah.
do know that there's a bit of a stigma around life coaching,
Hmm.
because people don't know what it is.
Hmm.
So I didn't necessarily know what direction I was going to go with that. So I
Hmm.
just focused on YouTube, and I focused on building my own personal brand and just talking about things that I was learning, because I was doing a lot of um research, and yeah, I was consuming a lot to
Hmm.
learn about limiting beliefs, about the science behind the way our brain is programmed, and things like that. So I was really just finding my voice on YouTube, and people were coming to me based on what I was saying. And I started to see a theme, obviously, with the sort of people that were coming to me. They were people that were stuck in a career or a situation of some description that they just were
Hmm.
not happy in, and they were interested in alternative living.
Yeah.
So that seemed to be the direction, really, that I've kind of gone with it specifically. So it's niched down, if you like, from the
Yeah.
broad life coaching. It's kind of, yeah, niched down to that specifically. And it's lovely to build a community around it as well,
Yeah.
because I like I'm in a few groups online, alternative living, and it's nice to make connections, so that as I've
Hmm.
got people coming into my community, I can make connections if they're looking to live off grid in a certain area. If I've got connections in that area, that it's nice to make introductions
Yes.
through the community as well. So yeah, hopefully over time, we're just getting started with this at the moment, really. So over time, it's hopefully just going to grow and grow.
Wow, how exciting. It's incredible. I absolutely love that. I think the community aspect is so important, especially when you're wanting to live an alternative lifestyle. Because like you said, so many people will come and say, oh, do you really want to live like that? Oh, you want to live in a van? Or like for me, it's like, what, you want to go and live off grid in a mountain in Spain? Or like, and people start putting all these fears onto you. Or for me, it was like, what about Brexit? What about this? What about, and it's so hard because it talks you out of doing it. So by able to like have a community of like-minded people, there's so much value in that. It's just amazing. So I absolutely love what you're doing.
Yeah, yeah. And I think people don't realize how much of an impact
Yeah,
negativity have on them.
yeah,
And some
absolutely.
people, that is the sole reason they stay unhappy, because of what other people say, and they don't want to go against the norm. And yeah, it's creating a safe space for people
Hmm.
to explore. Well, what if I did do that? What if I did
Yeah.
something crazy, like move to Spain in the middle of the mountains?
Yeah,
And I think when there's a will, there's a way. You know,
absolutely. It's funny, isn't it? Because I like, without going too woo woo, it's like when you actually raise your energy or your vibration, like how, you will become a magnet to those things. But if you just
yeah,
stay closed off, it's like you're not seeing the opportunities that are being presented to you. But
exactly,
it's just,
exactly.
sorry,
I
go
came.
on.
I was going to say I watched something the other day, and there was a quote in this video. I think it was a quote by Bruce Lee, um, and it was, only when the student is ready will the master appear. And that
Yeah,
related to making steps or gaining clarity in what you want. And then automatically you find that people come into your path, or opportunities come into your path when you're ready for them. But you've got to
absolutely.
kind of move towards that before you'll even, yeah, get the opportunity. So
No, it's so funny because even like the other week, I did the liberation video, obviously, like last year, I think it was. And then I said to Jack, my husband, like a couple of weeks ago, I was like, you know what, I really love doing that. I'd love to do more just like radio interviews or just chatting to people about, an alternative lifestyle. And a few days later, a guy approached us from Talk Radio Europe and wanted to interview me. And then like 5 days after that, just out of the blue, a lady from like some uh, a journalist from the UK who writes for a particular newspaper like got in touch and wanted to have a chat to me about our story. And it's like as soon as I kind
wow,
of opened up that little bit of, just, it's just amazing how it starts to come in, doesn't it?
it
So
does. yeah,
It's
it with 100% of the time as well.
yeah, yeah,
There, there is nobody I have spoken to that has taken steps to change their life that is not then presented with opportunities. It's
absolutely.
like it's like the universe responds.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Ask and you shall receive kind of thing, isn't it? I
Yeah,
love I'm assuming you have, but have you ever watched The Secret, on
yes.
oh that
About the
that
law of attraction and
yeah,
manifesting.
that
Yeah.
documentary honestly I mean, I was already aware of that, but when I actually watched the documentary and you see these kind of like what's his name? Who did The Grinch and what's his name? Jim
Oh, Jim
Carrey.
Carrey. Yeah.
How he wrote himself a check for like $1 million and put the date on it, and then almost to like when that check was going to expire, like he cashed in for like the biggest, movie of his life, and it was exactly for $1 million. It's just like, wow, it's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah, I think it's all about taking action, taking aligned action. I
Yeah,
think that's the thing that gets you there because I think a lot of people make the mistake with manifesting of writing that check with the date, but then not doing anything to move towards it.
yeah, just
So
assuming it's just waiting.
yeah. But no, it's the aligned action that, and then you're pointed in the right direction anyway. As
Yeah,
you found out with your opportunities with the journalist and the radio, is you're pulled into it. As soon as you start the momentum,
yeah,
it continues, and then
that's
you're
it.
pulled into the direction that you're meant to go in.
Yeah, I think like with my coaching people, I think what I find is people don't know what they want out of life either. Like
Yeah.
people don't have a goal to even try and like manifest that into their life. So that's always like with my coach, it's always like step one is just like, who are you? Like, what do you want out of life? And really trying to like dig out these passions and talents and like things that set their soul on fire essentially, and then trying to, maximize
Yeah.
that and create like a vision. But I think it's really hard for people. Like if you say to them, "What do you want?" and they're like, "I don't actually know. I've never really thought about it, to be honest." They're just living in this cycle of what they've always known. Or like the
Yeah.
rat race, essentially, I call it sometimes. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
hard question for some people, what do you really want out of life?
It was a hard question for me as well. I didn't
Yeah.
have a clue what I wanted, but I think I think I've probably got two things to add to that. The first is I you might find it really useful. I made a free workbook which is on my website, the curiouscollective.net, under free resources. It is I made a workbook specifically designed for people that don't know what they want to do or don't know what they want out of life.
Amazing.
And you might find it useful to use with your clients because I thought back to when I didn't know what I wanted. And I
Uh-huh.
thought, what did I do? I mixed it with what did I do plus what I wish I'd known
Yes.
at the time. And there's like some questions on there, so on like some exercises, etc. And it kind of it's designed to get you thinking creatively because the
Mhm.
reason why this is the second thing, the reason why I didn't know what I wanted when I was in the stage of leaving my career, I thought, what now? I don't even know what I want.
Mhm.
It's because I wasn't thinking creatively. I'd gone down a path where all of my creativity pretty much was packed so tight into a box because
Mhm.
I was yeah, following a path that wasn't making me flourish as a human, if you like.
Yeah.
And creativity is a big part of that.
Mhm.
As soon as you start to get creative with something, for me it was writing. When I was going through the grieving process, I just started writing. I never
Mhm.
don't know why, just putting pen to paper, writing, and the stuff that was coming out was pretty good actually.
Wow.
And that then went from there because as soon as I started doing something creative, I got an opportunity to do something else. What we said about opportunities, I
Wow.
got an opportunity to then work on somebody else's channel for them to help them with a bit of editing and things like that. And then that led to another opportunity, that which led to another opportunity. And it all started from getting creative,
Yeah.
which is and the science behind that is it's actually there's a part of your brain that if you're not creative kind of goes to sleep,
Oh,
and
wow.
that's what you need to re-engage and wake up. And when you then start to get more intuitive as well. That's another side effect of getting more creative.
Oh, I
So
love that. No, I'm definitely gonna download that workbook. And again, I'll put all of this in like the show notes, the link to your program, the workbook, how they can work with you and join your amazing community that you're building. So yeah, I mean, there's so many angles like we could go on. I love like, mindset, law of attraction, alternative living, but I don't want to keep you for too much longer. Um, but in terms of like your personal growth since living in the van, like how have you grown as a person? Like what has van life shown to you? Like maybe in terms of courage or putting yourself outside of your comfort zone. Like how have you grown from as a person because of van life?
I mean, I asked this question to the people around me, because when it's yourself, you don't
Hmm.
necessarily see dramatic change.
Yeah.
But it, so a family member and one of my best friends has commented regularly on how different I am now.
Wow.
And and they can't quite put their finger on it, but
Hmm.
they just say there's something different about you, and it's noticeable, and it's really hard to define what it is.
Uh-huh.
From a personal point of view, there's a side effect, which I don't know if you see it as a good or a bad thing, but I definitely went into a hermit mode. I withdrew from a lot of my social acquaintances,
Hmm.
if you like. Um, and it kept a very, very small circle of people around me. And even then, but they understood. Even then, I was going to say I was not in a hurry to be social. Like I was saying
Hmm.
no to a lot of events and doing this, and no, I don't want to. And all I was doing is kind of sitting in my van and watching TV or cooking or something. But that was what I wanted. And I think that's the biggest change I've noticed from a personal point of view. Um, I used to have FOMO. I used to want to be involved in that stuff, but yeah, I'm not bothered about that anymore.
Yeah.
I'm quite happy.
Yeah.
I'm more content, I think.
I love that. I love the word content because happiness, I think sometimes it can spike and, but contentment's just like a level. It's just a nice feeling, isn't it, when you're content?
Yes. Yeah, it is.
And what would you recommend to anybody who's thinking about doing this and then they're feeling like they're not sure?
I always try to advise people to do what I call micro experiments.
Hmm.
So rather than go all in, is
Hmm.
there a way that people can either hire a camper van for a period of time or have some sort of backup plan? So you can buy a camper van for a few months, maybe, and then, but you've got somewhere, or you can go back to where you are now, or
Yeah.
whatever. It depends on the individual's circumstances, really, as to what they can do. But I say you don't necessarily have to go all in if there's a way you can do it as a micro experiment. And I think in a way that's what I did, because
Hmm.
when I moved into my van, I never intended to move into it permanently. But
Yeah.
it happened. It was a micro experiment that turned into a permanent one.
Yeah. I love
But
that.
there's always avenues. There's always something else you can do if you don't enjoy it. So I think the biggest regret, even if you're thinking about it, do it, because the biggest regret is not doing it. If it doesn't work,
Absolutely.
have a backup plan or do it as an experiment where you hire one for a period of time.
just kind of like dip your toes in first, see how it feels, see if it feels aligned, and then if you enjoy it, then kind of go for it.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And you're
Amazing.
never stuck. You're
Yeah,
never stuck. If you don't like it, you do something else.
yeah,
So,
I agree. I think it's like when we moved to Spain, I just kept thinking, well, if it doesn't work out, if I don't enjoy it, then we'll just go back, like there's no harm in that, and it's not failure, but you'd always kick yourself thinking, oh, what if? Like what if I wish I'd have done that when you look back at your life and just think if only I'd have had that opportunity and taken it. And yeah, like you can always go back, can't you? Nothing's
yes.
ever permanent and set in stone.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And you never know what opportunity it might give you.
Yeah,
If you do van life and then think, oh, I don't like it, it might introduce you to a small community somewhere.
yeah, yeah,
And you go into a community style of living or boat life or some
yeah,
other form of alternative living that's more suited to you if van
yeah.
life isn't really the
That's
thing.
it.
But you've got to do it. You've got to do it to move forward to get momentum.
And do you feel that you would ever go back to like a normal home, or, is this just like a temporary thing for you? Do you feel like you always want to be off grid or van life or boat life?
I never want to have a mortgage again
Yeah.
because it just doesn't make sense to me now
Hmm.
to ever put something on finance like that when there are ways you can do it without needing to borrow money and be in debt for the rest of your working life.
Yeah.
And the idea mortgage to me just means trapped now.
Hmm.
So
Absolutely.
whatever I do, would I move? Yes, I would move into a house again,
Hmm.
absolutely. If I've got the money to buy it outright.
Outright. Yeah.
So we'll see how well this coaching goes, because that probably won't happen for a long time. But I'd rather be living in a van or living in a boat and saving money
Yeah.
than, yeah, having a mortgage to pay every month.
And isn't that what you used to do in your career, wasn't were you a mortgage advisor?
I was, yes. Yeah, I was a mortgage advisor and it was never aligned.
Yeah.
It was a successful career, and when I first started it, I loved it
Yeah.
because it was corporate, it was exciting. We worked hard, we played hard, we did award ceremonies, and it was very fun initially. Um, but I was never aligned with it.
Hmm.
People used to buy me gifts, clients would buy me gifts. And I'd always have this niggling thing in the back of my head where you're thanking me for putting you in debt for the next 35 years of your life.
Wow.
And my colleagues didn't see it like that because I remember talking to a few of them about it and saying that was how I felt. And they was like, well, no, you've helped them buy a house. And it's like, yeah, I don't see it like that.
Yeah. That's so
So I
interesting.
there was always signs I was in the wrong job,
Yeah.
always.
Yeah. Wow, it's amazing. No, because that's one of my things. Like when we were living in the UK, it was just like we knew that we were going to get a bit of inheritance money from Jack's grandma. She was always very open about, leaving him and his sister and mum like a little chunk of money. And it was just, how can we use this to not have a mortgage? Like whatever we wanted to do, it was just, we just did not want a mortgage. So we looked the same kind of thing as you, as like buying a bit of land, maybe putting a static caravan. My mom has some fields where the horses are, so we thought about building a little log cabin or van life or a canal boat. But it was just the one thing of not wanting a mortgage and having that constant, this isn't it broken down in Latin or something what mortgage actually stands for? It's something to do with like death or something. It's like a death contract or something like that. I can't remember. Um,
I've heard that, and I think you're right. The mort is because
that's it.
mortality. I think more it's something to do with death. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I just thought, no, I just don't want that. So when you were kind of like looking, I know you said almost like van life found you, but you had a look at maybe buying land and putting like a static caravan, I think you said. Like
Yes.
what put you off that? Because I know for us, we just found the regulations of the UK just really difficult around that.
Yeah, it was the lack of land that was available where I wanted to be because I wanted to stay here in Norwich. Um, and it was the regulations. It, I mean, since back then I didn't know the options that were available because I thought this is going to be difficult to
Hmm.
do, but I know now that there are communities that do have land specifically for that. I guess it's just the location. There wasn't anything like that local to me.
Hmm.
Um, that was one reason because I would have loved to have done that. Because if again, this is the mentality of owning something, isn't it? If you've got
Hmm.
land, it kind of, and I was still in that mentality at the time, but I was berating myself for it, thinking I don't need assets.
Hmm.
If I don't
Yeah.
need them, losing two people in my life, both were quite young. My mum was only 55, and it makes you aware of your own mortality, and you think, what good is a mortgage-free house to me when I'm 70? I might not even be alive when I'm 70. So,
Hmm.
and the same, and that was why I was thinking land, because I think maybe I need to own something, but I was thinking, no, I don't. I don't. I really don't. It is complicated with the planning in the UK. I looked abroad actually. Portugal is a good option
Hmm.
for buying land and living on in a van or like I don't know what their building regs are like, but in a van specifically. Um, yeah. So what else did I look at? What other options? I think that was it at the time. Oh, moving back in with my dad was an option, but that was a short-term option.
Yeah, yeah, not long term.
Yeah.
Amazing. And then just like, well, just if I ask you one more question, like what would you
Yeah.
say are the three best things about living in the van?
Um,
It's probably hard to pack it into three.
it is, but I'm going to do my best. I'm going to try and pack as and I kind of want to make it personal to me as well, not be too generic.
Hmm.
Um, it- I mean, the obvious one is the freedom.
Hmm.
You can go, I can go wherever I like and park up and get away. And it's just, yeah, it's the freedom. That's definitely one big plus. Um, what I like my van because it's cozy.
Hmm.
I like it feels very homely to me because I've made it mine, and
Yeah.
when I've got a smart TV, so I watch Netflix Prime, YouTube on TV, whatever, um, in bed and with my heating on, and it's cozy, and yeah, I think being mine, I
Hmm.
own it. The
Hmm.
bank doesn't own it. It's mine and it's cozy.
Yeah.
That's another good thing. Um, what else? What else? Oh, I tell you what else. It makes you realize your impact on the world. So when you've got a 60-litre water tank, you obviously have to think about using water sparingly. Now, that could be a negative because I like to stand in the shower for 20 minutes as much as the next person. But it does give you an awareness, which I
Hmm.
think is a positive, that we are so fortunate in a lot of ways that we do have water on a tap. We
Hmm.
have heating, electricity on a switch. It makes you more aware of these things and it makes you more grateful for these things.
No, that's so true. I mean, I went to Uganda when I was 16, I think. No, maybe 16, 17. And it was such an eye opener, like literally driving past children like the age of 3, 4, 5, like carrying massive water butts on their head. And they have to do this trip to the river, like, 3 or 4 times a day. And we just take all this for granted. And we're
Yes.
very blessed just to be able to turn a tap on or, press a button and the heating comes on, for example. So I really love that. I think that's really, really inspiring. I know when we lived on the mountain, like this house it was on grid. We're turning it off grid. It does have a well, like we've just put a solar system in. But on the mountain, like we caught rainwater. And in Spain, sometimes it wouldn't rain for like over a year. So it's just, having to be so conscious and mindful of like everything that we're using, and our electricity setup wasn't great. It was good, but basic. And it's just bringing that mindfulness back to like our consumption. It's really interesting. And then like when I go to my mom's house and like, she's running the tap and she's leaving lights on, all this, and flushing a number one down the toilet. I'm like, you don't need to do that. And just going around turning the lights off.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's I bet you were so happy when it did rain as well,
Oh,
and that elation that you feel, and
yeah,
you feel more at one with nature then, don't you?
definitely. Very in tune with the seasons. Yeah. Like, and when it rains, you're celebrating. When the sun's shining, you're getting your power. It's all you live in very much in harmony with nature.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that is a good thing,
It
definitely.
is. Makes you feel more animal, like more of a kind of yeah, I don't know what the right word I'm looking for, but yeah, just more
I,
more in tune
it
with
does.
nature.
I think it leads into the contentment as well. I think that
Hmm.
we are discontent when we move away from that.
Yes.
So it feeds into the contentment, which you quite rightly said earlier that happiness is up and down regardless of where you are,
Hmm.
of where you are in life. It's contentment really, and that's
Yeah,
I think so true. And that this way of life does feed into that contentment, definitely.
definitely. No, I agree. Well, Carly, I'll leave it there because I don't want to take up any more of your time. But I just want to say like a huge thank you for coming on and joining me today. And I think your story is super inspiring, and I love the community you're creating and the coaching. And like I said, I'm going to link everything in the show notes so people can kind of work with you. And then maybe like, in a year or 6 months time, we could do another catch up because I'd love to kind of follow people's journeys as well. So
Yes.
if you'd like to come back on the show again, in a few months or a year's time, I'd love that.
I'll let you know when I'm coming out to Spain again in the van as
Yes,
well.
please do. Honestly, I'd love it because I'm starting to like, interview a few people now, and I'm always like, come and stay, like just come and park up, and we can have a great time. Just meeting like-minded people. I love it. So yeah, thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you. It's brilliant. I think it's great to have podcasts like this for information as well as to build community.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I'm trying to do. And just inspire people, just to try and live your best life while you can. So
Yes.
yeah, well, thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
And we will keep in touch.
Yes,
Thank
absolutely.
you.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.